The leaders of the G7 nations are threatening to impose tougher sanctions on Russia if it does not help restore stability in eastern Ukraine. After meeting Wednesday in Brussels, the G7 has just issued a statement saying the group, quote, stands ready to intensify targeted sanctions on Russia. It's the first time in 17 years the leaders have met without Russia, and the summit is being dominated by events in Ukraine. CCTV's Jack Barton has our report.
There were bare-chested demonstrators and well-orchestrated protests. But the biggest shadows cast over the start of the G7 summit were the crisis in Ukraine and the absence of Russia from the group for the first time since 1998.
The crisis in Ukraine and Russia's actions are the very reason for the G7 Brussels summit, instead of the originally planned G8 summit in Sochi.
The leaders of the group of 7 industrialized powers, better known as the G7, arrived saying they would discuss strengthening support for Ukraine as well as how to improve dialogue with Russia. That opportunity will come soon, as Russian President Vladimir Putin and the leaders of France, Germany and Britain plan to hold face-to-face talks later this week on the sidelines of the D-Day landing commemorations in Normandy. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said they would also send a clear message.
If all of this does not work out, to signal the possibility of further actions.
With the EU dependent on Russian gas, energy security is also set to be a key topic at this summit, which will tackle a range of issues from boosting economic growth to conflicts in Mali and the Central African Republic and climate change. But it's events in Ukraine that will dominate these talks.
Behind the scenes, officials here say they would like to see Russia rejoin the grouping at some point in the future. Though given the furor surrounding Russia's absorption of Crimea, that process could take some time. Jack Barton, CCTV, Brussels.